Hi folks, another day, another review, and thanks to Mega Bikes, I'm out on the Yamaha R3 today. Never ridden one of these before, so very curious. As you probably know, I'm not the biggest Yamaha fanboy, so I'm really hoping that this little bike can turn things around. And welcome on board this beautiful little Yamaha R3. I've got to stop referring to it as little, okay, because thereby lies the first problem, I think, is who is this bike aimed for? Is it just aimed towards the new rider? I don't think it is, actually. I wanted to bring it on here straight away just to see how it handles in traffic, basically keeping up with traffic, maybe it's weaving in and out, because this is always notoriously busy. And I suspect that this bike, straight off, could be the ideal city commuter bike, albeit a very flash one. It's clearly a nod to its other siblings, the R6 and the R1, and of course lately the R7 as well. Can't wait to ride one of them. But what this has straight off in bucket loads is styling. In fact, take a look at the other colour schemes here. So as well as the Icon Blue colour scheme, which is the bike I'm out on today, there is also this delicious Midnight Black. Absolutely beautiful, this. But nothing compared to, wait for it. Oh yes, here we go. This is just sensational in my opinion. This is the 60th anniversary edition in its traditional race and colour livery. But just like anything I like the best, they're the most difficult to get hold of. Apparently these are as rare as hen's teeth. Well, back to this blue one that I'm sitting on, and I'm doing 100 kilometers an hour, which is the speed limit for this particular stretch of road. And you just wouldn't know it at all. The wind protection straight off, because this is a first ride, first thoughts review. Wind protection is brilliant. This bubble windscreen is completely thrown the wind around me. There's no buffeting. Bearing in mind I'm surrounded by lorries and traffic, which is where you would get all the buffeting. There's none. In fact, I can barely feel any wind against me. And I know on the way down here, I rode one of my own bikes down here this morning to take this bike out for a review, and I know from just being on my bike that it's a very windy day, so that's a great sign, and okay, I might as well address it straight off, because those of you who've seen my other reviews, including that the Tracer 9 within the last couple of months, will know my biggest issue with Yamaha is the comfort, the seat basically. The seat is so comfortable, so I'm really impressed. Leading straight on from the seat comfort, God, it really is. And I was, riding down here this morning, I just thought, I'm not going to like it. People are going to get sick of me sitting on another Yamaha, because they're going to know already, without me even, experiencing any sort of mileage on the bike, that I'm probably not going to like it. And I have to say, I do like it. So sit back and enjoy the rest of the interview, folks. Or interview? Who am I interviewing, myself? Enjoy the rest of the review, folks, because straight off, this is really, really comfortable, really nice. One of the other things I've just noticed here is that because I'm indicating to move lanes left and right and everything, the switch gear is very, very light. I'm not sure if it's just because I'm not used to this switch gear yet, but my, again, first thoughts are it's very light. In fact, you can't even feel that you've clicked the indicator switch into place, especially when you're wearing gloves. Now, I'm wearing my thicker gloves today because the winter weather is on the way, but you can see there it's not really a big clunky switch gear. So but like I say, maybe it's just a case of getting used to it. And I've just switched it right again because I'm going to shift lanes, and bear with me, can't multitask. This particular bike comes with the Akrapovic slip-on can. I think that's a thing right across the Irish dealerships at the moment. Nevertheless, when I started it up to take off there this morning, it's a nice little meaty roar. Actually, to add to the meaty looks, of this bike, you'd never think it was only a 321cc engine. And I'm saying that, you know, I mean, I'm in 6th gear here now. I mean, there's no quick shifter or blipper or anything on a bike like this, but the clutch is nice and light all the way up the box. I'll talk about the clutch in a minute, but I just wanted to address the power. I mean, there's only 42 horses in this, but again, the bike is really light, so it's all relative. Top speed on this bike is 110 mile an hour. So it'll keep you legal, well, just about. You're not going to be going track racing on a bike like this, but then, as I keep saying in all my reviews, there's a different bike for a different purpose. So if you're tuning into this looking for an all-round bike, this isn't the one. But to do the job that you wanted to do, I don't know whether you're a new rider or a commuter, or to be honest, after being on this, doing a few miles already, I've done 12 miles so far. Already I'm thinking this is just a really nice fun bike for loads of purposes. Whether it's just your weekend spin, you could do a lot worse than getting on one of these. So I'm in 5th gear here now. I'm pulling away just to try and overtake these lorries, and the torque is really impressive. Come on now, what's this one doing sitting in the fast lane? Sheepus. This is great fun! I've just realised my speed as well. Wow. Certainly didn't feel I was doing that speed. Now the seating position is perfect for me, for my size, so I'm sat upright. Now my legs don't feel too bent either, but I suspect if you were 6'3", this would not be the bike for you. But at my height, and possibly anything up to 6 foot maybe, mind you, that might even be stretching it, I think it's a very comfortable bike. A lovely riding position actually. And especially, as I mentioned earlier, with that lack of buffeting because of whatever's happening here with the screen, it's just a very, very enjoyable spin out, this. Obviously no electronic suspension, no fancy gizmos or tricks on this bike, no cruise control. There is ABS, and I'll test them hopefully if the roads are a bit drier further north. Look, there's a speed van there. Better look next time, buddy, you won't get me on this bike. You're out of first gear basically as soon as you start moving. But so once you're in 2nd, all the way up to 6th, there's quite a good range there, you know. Especially when you're on a road like this and you're not on a motorway anymore, just having to sit there at I'm just going to do a sneaky little manoeuvre to the front of this traffic here. So when you're not having to sit there, you know, with everybody else at 120 kilometers per hour. Mind you, saying that, I think this bike would handle that as well. So here we'll go from a standstill, see, 40 kilometers an hour in first gear. Taking the revs up to 10,000 in 3rd there. I'm in 4th now. Okay, I've hit the speed limit, and there's still loads left. Absolutely loads left. So I think, I know it says in the spec 110 mile an hour is the top speed. I think that's about 160 or 170 kilometers per hour. I think it'd be hard pushed now to get up to that. But then, hey, it's not all about speed, is it? It's the all-round package. It's the comfort, it's getting up to the speed, and it's the looks and the styling. And I'll tell you something, I think this has ticked most of all of the things I've just said. It's a great little bike, this. Stop calling it little, Dave. That sounds like so demeaning, doesn't it? So condescending. Oh, it's a lovely little bike. I remember my wife years ago scolded me for saying I'm just getting, we'd only just been married a year or so, and we were looking for a new car for my new wife. And I used to tell people, oh yeah, I'm just getting my wife a nice little run around. My wife hated me saying that. Yeah, nice little run around for my nice little wife. Really condescending. So I think that's why I'm so conscious of calling this a nice little bike. So I shall stop from now. It's a great big bike, this. Sorry, I'm amusing myself. Mirrors are nice and solid, and I'm doing 110 kilometers per hour here. No buzzing at all in the mirrors. Actually, on that note, there's no buzzing in the handlebars or the foot pegs either. Nice parallel twin engine. You can't get the true sound of the parallel twin, of course, because this has the wonderful Krapovich slip-on can on the end, so obviously that's going to override any sound of the raw natural engine sound. But the engine really is as smooth as silk. Well, it takes me seamlessly up the box. There's no vibration anywhere. If I was on a quieter road, I'd try a slower speed in a higher gear, and just to check how the fueling is, so hopefully I'll get a chance to do that very shortly. Feels very solid as well on the road, and again I suspect that's largely to do with the fairing, whatever way the wind is coming over your legs and indeed around the rest of the bike. But you just point it and it sits there. I'll tell you straight off, I like this bike better than I did the Yamaha Tracer 9. Absolutely, hands down. Give me one of these any day compared to a Tracer 9. Oh, I'm dying to try the R7 now after this. This is completely whetting my appetite. And for a bike which costs €7,100 brand new, actually this particular model I'm on today is slightly cheaper. I think it's €600 cheaper or €700 cheaper because it's a demo bike, so it is for sale. So if you live in Ireland, pop along to Megabikes, have a look at this, take it out for a spin, and hopefully you'll be as impressed as I am. Okay, I'm gonna take the speed down to, well, as low as I can before any cars come up behind me. Just checking the traffic behind me. I'm in 5th gear now. And I'm just doing 35 kilometers an hour in 5th gear. There's no bubbling, no hunting, no searching. The fueling is absolutely spot on. God, I could sit there all day doing this. Taking it a bit lower now, down to 30. Okay, I'm gonna have to start winding her up now because I can see traffic approaching in the rear view mirror, but no issues there at all. Really quite happy the bike is anyway. Well, so am I. Lovely and nimble as well. But then, I think I touched on this earlier, because of the fairings, it does feel, when you're going a good speed, say above 80 kilometers an hour, it feels absolutely solid because of the airflow, just keeping the bike locked into position wherever you point it. But then when you slow down and therefore reduce that airflow around the fairings, it's so nimble. That's why my first impressions were, I think this will be a brilliant commuter bike. And I absolutely stand by that. In fact, I'll reinforce that again. Just, I've done how many kilometers there now? I've done 60 kilometers already today on this bike, and it just keeps getting better. Okay, I'm gonna come to a stop up the road because we're approaching Slane Castle. I'll do a bit of a walk around, and we'll just check out the looks of this gorgeous bike again. Okay, I've just stopped there, and I nearly overshot this, so I slammed the front brakes on, and as you can see, wouldn't be Brembo calipers or anything like that, but nevertheless they did stop me, just not crazy stop. Alright then, let's take a little look around this beauty. Great styling, I love the headlights, look at them. Obviously complete nod to its bigger brothers, the R1 and the R6. The R7's headlights actually are a bit narrower than that. Let's take a wee look at the brakes there. So, yeah, they're hardly Brembos, as I said when I came to that stop just before. But sure, they still do the job, they still stop you. Very, very comfortable seat there. I'm very surprised about that, especially it being a Yamaha. And the Akrapovic slip-on can on the end. In fact, let's take a little listen to that. I'll fire her up now and see what it sounds like. There we go. Just check it's in neutral. Here we go. The fuel tank as well is 14-litre fuel tank, and I reckon you probably get a couple of 100 miles per tank, to be honest, because surely to God this has got to be doing 75, even 80 miles to the gallon. I've read reports that these are very economical anyway, so you could easily head off for a weekend trip somewhere and not worry about having to keep stopping. I always get funny looks when you pull into a car park to do this sort of thing, especially when you start revving your bike. And let's take a little look around the back. The discs are really small on this. Yeah, they're hardly going to stop the lights, for want of a better expression. Brand new back tyre, that's why I've been taking it fairly easy on this. Again, the pillion pegs and everything, I'm not sure who'd like to sit on a little seat like that. You'd need a comfortable exterior, or posterior rather, if you were going to go any distance on that as a pillion. But sure, I'm not bothered about putting anybody on the back on this test review anyway. And there's where a lot of the magic was happening for me earlier on as well, on that screen. When I say screen, I don't mean the TFT, I mean the actual windscreen. Did a great job of keeping the wind off me. But talking of the TFT anyway, might as well address it. Really, really clear, very bright, and as you can see, the sun is out today, which is fairly unusual. But the TFT was extremely bright all the way up here. So all in all, very, very impressive package. And I love the look of it. It's really meaty, isn't it? Beautiful. But it's beautiful to ride as well. So the pros, looks and styling. This bike has it in bucket loads. And as you know, I always choose a bike on its looks. Everything else is secondary. The comfort is next in terms of taking another pro. Like all-round comfort, just, well, let's start with the seat, you know, which is a huge problem for me, especially when I ride Yamaha bikes. But whatever they've done to the seat on this is just magic. They should think about putting this on the rest of the range, especially that terrible Tracer 9. But all-round comfort on this bike is just amazing. I've done over 100 kilometers now on this bike, and I don't feel tired, I don't feel jaded, I don't feel uncomfortable. It's just really a terrific ride. So huge thanks to Mega Bikes yet again for loaning me this. Really changed my opinion about the current range of Yamaha bikes. I should look forward to riding the R7 next year. But until then, folks, thanks a million again for tuning in. I'm Dave Perry, of course, for Really Good TV. Over and out.